Hey, welcome back to the channel. If you don't know who I am, I'm Wesley Pandy, one lonely farmer. I've been doing this for 15 years. 15 years of YouTube. It's been a rocky road, fun stuff, not so fun stuff, but I'm still here. Don't you love it when the computer breaks? Anyway, so we are getting down to it. We're down to the last 470 acres of corn to do. Stopped in at the rye field, see how the rye has sprouted. It is growing nicely. I have a couple of pictures. I'm not going to set them up there because nobody really cares about rye or wheat as cover crops, and of course we are doing the cover crop programs. The best cover crop that I had this year that yielded me the most corn in return was oats. There she goes again. You watch. She'll get it. So she just fueled me up. I'm gonna get going on this. Down to about 500 acres of corn to do. This is actually yielding pretty good. And yeah, so woohoo! Hopefully I can claim my parking brake is on. Had my first problem today. Really the first problem I've had since I've started this project, and that is I got on a hill here and went over a terrace, and it maxed out the sieves. The sieves are on a roller coaster kind of a thing, and it keeps them level, and it bottomed them out and broke the spot welds. It broke the spot welds on the fan housing. Oh shit. It broke the spot welds on the fan housing and caused the fan to collide with the outer parts of the fan. So I had some issues, but we fixed it up with a couple of sheet metal screws and a pry bar and an old fence post, and life was good. Took longer for Timothy to get here and figure out that I needed a tool truck than it did to actually fix them. So anyway, this is a replanted field, which I probably shouldn't have replanted, but I did it anyway, and it's yielding very well, so I'm not going to complain. Oh, what am I doing here? Anyway, I gotta get my eyes on this thing because I ain't doing it right. Well, somebody's jet lagging. Jet lag. Kind of crappy day today, but corn's coming in. I was worried about this field. The former farmer on this farm is not into maintaining the soil very good. But this is where I spun on the oats, and Shrek came out of the swamp over there. And 3/4 full. You can say okay there. The former farmer on here, he beaned it and beaned it to death, and I put those oats in as a green cover, and I planted green through them, and it worked out really well. Gonna do it again, try and build this organic matter in the soil, because the organic matter in this soil is deplorable at best. This corn laid under the ground, in the ground, for about 14 days before we got a rain enough to get it going. So for 2 weeks this stuff laid under the ground in the dust, and you know, I had that oats in here, and if you don't know, oats are really good at drying soil out. So this is kind of funny ground. It's droughty, but when it's wet, it's wet. I don't know if that makes any sense to you fellas out west, but when it dries out, it dries out. It's not just the way this stuff is. And yeah, so I'm heading into the wet area right now. The last 12 rows over there, they were not so good. They were not. So I'm full now, kind of, sort of. I should be able to get all the way to the other end, and that'll make 3 dumps into that truck there, and I'll be able to put 4 in comfortably. I will not do 5. It'll take 5, but that's a heavy load. You don't really want to do that. It's not good for the trailer. Truck will do it, but it's not good for the trailer. 4 dumps is more than enough, let's put it that way, especially to be pulling out of the field. So, but this is where it's really, really wet. Now, we ran the VT over this and it was dry. Come on, Will. I got a phone call coming in. Yeah, I could probably put 7 dumps in there and crush the tires and probably split the trailer in half. So we're not going to do that. I could probably put 8 or 9. If I filled that thing up, I'd have 150,000 pounds of corn in there. And that's not something that we want to do, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you do want to do that. So what do you got? What are you eating?
Donuts.
Donuts? Look like munchkins. Look at his haircut. Who did that for you?
Dad.
Yeah, I did. Looks like his mom. He does. He looks like his mom. Yeah, you look like your mom. You're a handsome guy. Now, I got a fuel filter having issues, but other than that, grain sample's pretty good. We are getting a little bit more moisture coming down from this sky than I want to, but I'm going to keep going because the alternative is snow, and snow makes a mess. I've had a mess in combines before with crap, but for the most part, tomorrow it's supposed to rain, and then tomorrow clear out, but I want that wet spot at least done, so I can get back out here tomorrow without any issues. Right? Oh, what do you got? You eating these? Here, let me have one. I guess the pumpkin spice ones are done. No more hunkin' pumpkin spice. There we go. So when I took this farm over this spring, this was all hay that was raked up and never baled. So we chewed it up with the vertical tillage machine, and I'm really kind of hoping that the corn stubble keeps us from washing. There's a washy, it's not washy ground, but that's a wash right there. So anyway, let's hit the dive button. Ready? Boom. Dive. And she goes down, and in we go to that, and then off we go. Well, even though those stalks are tiny, there's plenty of ears there. Come on, Will, get off the... Nope. I'm not doing too good. You gotta stop blocking my view. Yeah, you don't want to get too close. You'll pick up rocks. Oh, we're starting to get a little sideways. It's from the water pools here. At this combine, if you keep it light, you can go through these muddy. Even though it's 2-wheel drive, it'll go right through them. Come on, get down there a little bit farther. But there's some rocks in here, and they're glacial rocks. It's full of glacial rocks. About a month and a half ago, there was a guy, maybe it's 2 months ago. There was a guy out here, and he was picking up rocks, right? And he's trying to tell me that he picks up this rock, and he said, this is an artifact. I'm like, okay. I kind of know a little bit about artifacts. And he's like, oh, well, do you see that this is a bird? And I'm looking at him, and I'm looking at the rock, and I'm like, yeah, sure. The guy's freaking cheese had slid off his cracker. He's telling me that he is making a hot tub out of artifacts that he's found on and around on this farm and other farms in the area. He says, I've got 100,000 artifacts in my collection, and I'm going to mortar them in and grout them in so that the whole entire thing is made out of Indian or native artifacts for the last 100,000 years of stuff. And I mean, you might think, and he's picking stuff up. He picks up another thing, and he's like, oh yeah. He said, here's another one. This is a what the hell do they call it? A wolf. Now, that one I could have almost believed was a wolf, but it took a really good imagination. It was just a rock that had a point to it and like a pock where the nose could have been, you know, but it was broken. So it's kind of weird because it makes you think that the natives just carved animals into stones and threw them out in the fields the way this guy was picking them up and telling me this is a bird, this is a mountain lion, this is a rabbit, and this is a this and that and the other thing. And I would have loved to have believed him, and if I'd have said, oh yeah, look at that, I think I see a jackalope, he would have agreed, and we would have talked for another 2 hours over the jackalope that I had just found, and that would have just been wonderful. And I think the rain is starting to get too much for me to combine corn in. Starting to kind of get a little gummy. But, ooh, definitely. So I'm going to have to call off Tim. Let me call him back.
What?
Oh. Okay. Contact. Here we go.
Put your hoodie up so you have.
I'm gonna eat my sandwich. I got water back there. So we gotta go. So the truck is there and the corn is way over there. This is where a grain cart would come in ultra handy. Did you know that?
I agree.
I do. But you know what? For the couple of farms that I could use a grain cart on, to me it just isn't. To me, it's just not worth it. I mean, we can only dry so much. We've only got so much storage. We've only got so many people running. If I had a grain cart, I'd have to hire 2 more people. So, to take a few extra days to do the work that we got to do, I just don't see the value here. Well, I mean, I could see the value in it, but it's just, I'd have to hire no less than 2 people. 2 more people, and I just don't see the value in that. It's just not there. There's a bunch of deer out there, way out the other end, right? And if you look, and you're not going to see them, but there's a deer hunter. It is 6-day firearm right now, meaning buck season, down in there. And he's hunting very diligently, waiting for me to push deer to him. But these deer are being rather facetious. There's one there. They're all over in here. Now, the former farmer on here, he used to plant soybeans every year. I mean, every year, plant soybeans and wheat, beans after wheat, beans after wheat, beans after wheat. And that's the way he did it. And he created such a herd of deer. I mean, they won't leave here. And we are surrounded by houses. There's developments over there, there's developments over there, there's just people everywhere. And there are people that feed deer as well. And you can tell that the deer are really bad here because up the road there's a set of fences. There's a house with a fence built all the way around it. And it looks like Well, Joe Biden doesn't even have that good of a fence from what I could see, but yeah. Anyway. Right there?
Yeah.
What are you thinking? What are you
Nothing.
thinking? It's yielding pretty good for what it is. I mean, replanted corn. I think it's doing quite well, actually. So, anyway, whatever. I'm going to shut up now and get on with it. All right, so as you can tell, I'm back in the combine. I'm going to turn this around, and you can see that we are now playing in the mud. Just a little bit. It rained an inch or so in the last 4 days. Which really kind of puts a damper on the pamper. I can't really bring wagons out in here. Not about to pull a truck into the swamp. There's just water everywhere. The other night, before we got that last half an inch, you'll see here in a minute. Well, I'd say in a minute, but you'll see here in a few seconds. That right there, that's not a ditch. That is actually now a ditch, but it wasn't a ditch. I almost got stuck in here. It was not late at night, but it was dark, and I went to pull ahead, and the tractor was just not quite on the road enough. I ended up backing up, cutting my wheel, and making sure that the tractor could get out onto the road, so I had good positive traction on the roadway, and then I was able to go ahead and pull it out. We are at the 450 acres to go range now. 450, something like that. We're getting there. We are getting there. This is yielding pretty good. I'm not gonna complain. I don't see that red line that goes down through there. That was 3 rows. I didn't set the combine up for 3 rows, but it was running really well. I'm quite pleased with this. I'm very pleased with the way this little field has yielded. That Legend has given me somewheres in the 200, between 190 and 250 bushels to the acre, and it's been pretty accurate. I'm quite happy here. This ground was actually not neglected as much as I thought it was by the former farmer. He grew soybeans and wheat, soybeans and wheat, soybeans and wheat, which is not good, but there's worse things. He actually did put compost down, which I think I got some of the benefit of that. But anyways, I'm gonna go down. I got like 3 or 4 rows that need to be sniped off down there, and then I'm gonna move the truck ahead and head on across the road. There's 5 fields there, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 or 13 more fields to do on this farm. So, all right, it's raining, pissing raining.
This isn't gonna fit in there.
Well, you'll have to get up there and stomp it down.
Yeah, no.
It'll fit. Run it through.
I don't want to shuffle it up again.
You away?
I don't want to shuffle it again.
I didn't think so.
Last night.
I put that last one in and it came over the top. I'm like, uh-oh. I got a little too much in there. I thought it was 4 dumps, but I think I miscounted. I didn't think I did, but it's mounded. There's a lot in there, Mr. Tim. Like, look at the bow in it. Not good. Yeah. And it pulled. It was, yeah. Coming up out of Everstown, I couldn't get out of low. Fucking heavy. Oh boy. Swamp. Gotta love, a lot of love late fall corn picking. Holy shit. Look at that water running. Oh my goodness. It's dry in here.